can actually listen to this without having headphones in, which is a big deal. But
Okey-dokey. Hello, everyone.
hello, hello. Anybody out there? Doesn't say we're
Yeah,
live.
we are.
Oh,
We're live. Look, there we are.
oh. Hi. I don't mind mine.
It's in your phone.
Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's last week.
No, yeah, look.
No, it's not coming up on mine.
There we
Oh,
are.
there we are.
You just needed to refresh the page.
I did. Oh no, that's last week.
Oh God, I sound awful.
That's my voice.
It's like the feedback.
She's like, ew, I sound awful. I'm like, that's my fucking voice.
We're like, yeah, how you going?
Hey, going, mate? Hey, going.
Do we sound Aussie to you guys in North America?
I would say so.
Do we sound very Aussie? Are we very bogany?
Yo, yo, JJ, yo, yo.
What did we get called that one time?
Skanks.
Skanks. Grifters.
Gold Coast skanks. I'd be a lot richer if I was a skank and a grifter and I wouldn't be struggling, but that's okay. At least I still have my house, unlike a lot of people in California right now. And we've called this show Liar, Liar, California on Fire because, well, we were just having a conversation now about everyone here in Australia is talking about the fires in California as well. And the incongruency between what people are seeing on the ground, the videos that are coming up on Instagram and whatnot. I mean, clouds with boom, 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 explosions in them, and all these arsonists being arrested, being caught lighting fires, these gangs of five, the trees, a la Lahaina that weren't affected, all this sort of stuff. So anyone of our friends here on the Echo Chamber, you're probably not watching today if your home got burnt down, but been affected by these fires, let us know, because it's pretty shocking, right? And the fact that this, the 2028 smart city plan for LA. And I listened to interesting the other day. I listened to a tarot card reader. She did a read on the California fires, and she said there's a lot that's going to come out exposing sort of what's going on underground in California. So this will be the result of the fires. Not that the fires were lit for this particular purpose, but because of all the tunnels and, under the Getty Museum and all the millionaire houses and whatnot. She said a lot of truth is going to come out of these fires from what will be exposed. So we'll wait and see about that. Yeah, Mel Gibson on Joe Rogan. Yeah, Mel Gibson's been in the news a lot lately. Oh, in the alternate news a lot lately. Not only talking about the fires, also talking about ivermectin curing 4 of his friends that had terminal cancer and all this jazz. So I believe we can get ivermectin now in Australia under prescription, but they limit it to like 4 pills or something. Have you heard?
No, I haven't.
No. But otherwise we can get it from India apparently, or Indonesia. Indonesia, by the way, has just been confirmed as officially part of the BRICS nation as well. So that's just happened, I think, in the last week, a confirmation of that. So that's interesting.
Geez, I might have to start charging in rupiah.
Mel Gibson has released a list of celebrities involved with P. Diddy and Epstein. Yeah. Did Diddy's house go up? Did that burn? I think did that one burn as well? Or I don't know how far the fires are still burning. I'm not sure if they've wiped out Hollywood yet. If anyone can let me know, that'd be interesting. But yeah, the Getty Museum. There are a lot of people talking about the Getty Museum going down and the tunnels under there, how they lead through the whole system of you can buy online, can you? Oh, thanks, Rachel. From an Australian business. Okay, well, we'll get our ivermectin now, because now, thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. Do you think it was the real Mark Zucker? He needs a haircut at work.
I don't know. I don't know.
So we can say whatever the fuck we want, apparently. Not that we've ever really, I was laughing, we've never really censored ourselves.
No, what are they? They're going to have community checkers or community standard. It wasn't. They're not going to have fact checkers, but there's going to be like community standards of some kind. So there's still going to be some kind of monitoring, but it's not going to be fact checkers.
And apparently the hub of where all the fact checkers were in California has been moved out to Texas as well. So I don't know what that means, but yeah, all this fire stuff is obviously the big news this week. I was listening to a lot of people are saying it's just like Lahaina with the dew, blah blah blah. I was listening to a one chat with Nino, and he was saying it's a bit different because of the way that California, sort of Los Angeles, is sort of in a basin. They get a lot of smog. Apparently these DEWs, they don't work so well through fog because they disperse. But there's other technology that's obviously being used. The fact that they've just gone, and we've seen a few photos of blue things that weren't burnt. I saw a photo this morning of the Scientology compound. All the roofs on that one are painted blue as well, which was interesting. Tom Hanks's mansion was survived. Well, yeah, but did Tom? Where's Tom Hanks? Oh, God. Big news this week. Trudeau resigned. I think it was the afternoon of last Monday. So
Kicks and pies.
Oh, Fidel Castro's son has gone. And I saw a video of his mother as well, and yeah, and all these comments were like, well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because she was a bit of a loose cannon, let's put it that way.
Just because Trudeau's resigned, though, doesn't mean that somebody worse isn't going to be coming up to the plate. That's the issue.
It's going to be interesting to see who does come up to the plate with.
How long has he been Prime Minister for? Quite some time.
15 years or something, isn't it?
Yeah. Any Canadians in here who can tell us how long Trudeau's been Prime Minister?
The best thing about the fires is how many people think the celebs are above us, think they're above us, and a lot, and are turning against them finally. God, well, is there anyone who still worships celebrity out there? I don't know.
No, mate, you've only got to look at the celebrity social media pages, and name any celebrity, you look at their social media page, they've got millions of followers.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and the kids still love the music. I watched the Avicii I Am Tim documentary this week as well. I don't think I mentioned it last week, I'm not sure. I remember at the time, and I never followed Avicii, but I know he died around the same time, wasn't it? There were quite a few other music.
Well, he was the first, and then Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, they were after Avicii, but similar time frame.
And similar sort of like
circumstances.
Yeah, you get this Avicii dude, and he's like makes his mega millions. He gets addicted to drugs, painkillers, breaks down. His family intervenes. He gets well.
2 years out of the scene,
and he's on the best place he's been in his life, and all of a sudden commits suicide. Like, none of this makes sense, right? What was he working on? We certainly don't see these things on Netflix. But yeah, Margot Robbie, I hear you, but he's not speaking truth, is he? Oh, Margot Robbie. 11 years he was president or prime minister of.
Trudeau.
Yeah. So yeah, he's gone.
11 years too long.
Yeah, it was a 60 Minutes interview actually with Trudeau's mum. It was an Australian 60 Minutes from ages ago. Yeah, poor old Justin never really stood a chance.
And, there begs the question, how much of it can be blamed on, he was brainwashed or predictively programmed as a young child, It gets really tricky. At what point does the adult step in and become aware and conscious and say, this is wrong? I don't know.
I wonder how many break through this childhood programming that, you know, that these young kids go through, like in the royal families and Hollywood kids.
The Mickey Mouse Club.
Can you imagine, guys, the horror? Um, and then we've got, in the UK now, Parliament voted, I think it was 111 versus 250 or something, against investigating these rape gangs, these grooming gangs that.
Why would they vote against that? I don't understand.
Well, we only have to look at who the Prime Minister is of the UK, Keir Starmer. And I think I mentioned last week that he had connections to Jimmy Savile and King Sausage Fingers. And I saw a video through the week that how Keir Starmer was one of Jimmy Savile's boys. So Jimmy Savile groomed Keir Starmer. So Labor government in the UK, at the top of this is a groomed child through Jimmy Savile. No wonder the Labor they all fall in line because they don't want to, particularly with the narrative in the UK, it's these Pakistani Muslim gangs and blah blah blah, and this has been going on a long time, right? 30 years or something. We can't appear to to side with our own people against these immigrants because it's racist, right? So it's racist. They're so afraid of creating a racial narrative that they're voting against, and they're working for the man who was the boy of the big man, Jimmy Savile, who was the supplier of children to the royal family for 50 years. He was in the spotlight in America, in the UK, loved by the people of the UK for his funny guy ways, but behind the scenes, absolute evil. Anyway, so. But yeah, they're terrified, and they're terrified in the UK that they're going to lose the vote of the immigrants because there's that many of them. But yeah, who would vote against investigating child grooming, child rape gangs? Somebody who's involved in the child rape gangs or been told by their boss, do not go there. It's never about the victim, it seems. The victims have stood up over the years and come forth, and they've just been gaslit by the police, gaslit by the court system, and there's apparently this rape thing. It's not a political issue, so just forget about it. Let's move on, shall we? Awful, awful. The guilty ones would, yeah. Well, copy. What have we got? Anything? Yeah, Margot Robbie's an actress. What else? Part of the USA. Where will we become? Where we're talking as well about whether Australia will become part of the USA. We've mentioned this over the years, and as we know, we're already a corporation under the US. So now that Trump has pretty much said we're taking Canada, and because we support Canada, we $180 billion a year or something goes into sort of propping up the Canadian economy as it is. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with these Five Eyes nations under the new Trump administration. Yeah, Tracy, it's a lot about the smart cities. We've seen the same thing here in Australia with the floods and fires, right up and down the smart city train lines and whatnot. So, and I was speaking with a friend today. If they were going to do California in Australia, where would it be? I think it'd probably be Sydney. I think that's the highest profile city in Australia. And it's nice and hilly as well. So it'd be difficult to put it out. Um,
Where would they do it? Like Bondi or something?
there's a lot of hills around Sydney. It's quite a hilly, but they'd have to target the.
They'd have to target the wealthy areas,
They'd have
like
to.
the upper. Yeah, I don't know the Sydney wealthy areas, but
The-
the coastal wealthy areas of Sydney.
The beaches, yeah, the northern beaches, all around the harbour. It's all super wealthy in Sydney. It's really beautiful, but it's a shit city to get around.
I have no interest in Sydney.
No.
Sorry, Sydney Siders, but people say that about the Gold Coast too. So no offence taken.
No, I like Sydney, but I only like the northern beaches because it's a beach. I'm a beach girl, so hence why we live on the Gold Coast. All the talk this week about Trump taking over Greenland, Don Jr. in Greenland. And apparently this Greenland talk has been going on for a long time, ever since, when was it? I think it was mentioned in.
You got to find the right book.
Got to find the right book, the right thing. I can never find my pages because I can't understand my own writing.
You should put little like footbits on the outside.
No, I know because but if I was organised, so it was right in front of me. Greenland, the ship to protect the shipping lanes, obviously, that are full of Russian and Chinese submarines and boats, like whatever. But apparently it's been talked about since like the 1940s or something. They've been talking about Greenland as a strategic outpost for America. So there's nothing new in this Greenland talk. And the Prime Minister of Greenland apparently this week has welcomed talks with the new Trump administration coming in. So that'll be interesting. And the Panama Canal, obviously, is another big one. And I mean, I think 35,000 Americans died building the Panama Canal. So there was a real estate deal done that a lady was on. She put a big documentation together about the Panama Canal, and she actually sent it to Trump last year. I think it was like October last year or something. So he started talking about the Panama Canal, and he was doing an interview with Tucker Carlson, and Trump was talking about the Panama Canal over and over, and Tucker was trying to get him off the subject apparently, but he kept bringing it back to the Panama Canal because he'd just received this report, which is to be turned into a book. Is it Sonia Home? I'm not sure, but she sort of discovered a lot about this real estate deal that was done to create the Panama Canal, which was. It was sort of covered up and hidden. And then when Carter sold it back to the Chinese or the Panamanian, whoever he sold it to for $1, that piqued Trump's interest because it was a real estate deal, right? So that's where this Panama thing is coming from. And the fact that China are in control of it now and squeezing the American ships that go through there, and they charge them a fortune. So there's nothing new about Greenland. There's nothing new about the Panama Canal. This Canada talk, well, and is Australia on the list? I think we might be. We'll see what happens. Oh yes, everyone. The list of what do we got? The water being turned off, the dams being emptied.
In LA, so the insurance companies cancelled the fire insurance in the months leading up to the fires. So people that had been paying with the same insurance company for 75 years, having their insurance turn off, everyone. And what they did actually is all of the private insurance companies cancelled fire insurance. I believe every single insurance company cancelled fire insurance, which is really, really suspicious. And then what happened is the government offered to offer a government fire insurance, but the insurance was very, very, very expensive. Like the premium was way, way more for fire insurance than what people were paying for it with their original insurers. The fire hydrants had no water. Like, you've got the Pacific Ocean right there, and the fire hydrants were empty of water. And the mayor, coincidentally, was out of town when this happened. So all of these things are being set up so that nobody has to take the fall or nobody has to take the blame. So it was either gross negligence or we know something more sinister going on. Was it for the 2028 Smart City Plan? Was it for some other nefarious reason that's yet to be revealed? But if you're not asking questions, you'd have to be pretty foolish at this point.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of talk too about sort of some sort of weather modification stuff coming out of Area 51 are connected to these fires as well. And there were, I'm not sure if it was over these parts of California, but they had the fog as well, this toxic fog that everyone was getting sick from. And Juan just released documents. He gave them to Nino. So Nino on Telegram, and he's going to release them on Rumble as well, explaining the nefariousness of these fogs and what particles are in these fogs and how they affect the lungs and the brain, and that they have like these parasites that were in these fogs, parasites, and there was something else too.
Yeah, the fog was in LA also, JJ. There were so many things that didn't add up, like the fire, burning cars, like melting the metal and melting the brake pads, and like the car looking oxidated, like what happens with a microwave oven, right? So there's all of these signs that this was no ordinary fire. And I was watching a Michael Jaco piece on Rumble, and he said that what they were doing, and I have no proof of this, I'm just repeating what he said on his show. He said what they were doing is that they were telling everyone to evacuate their homes, and then they were starting fires from within the home using the smart devices in the home. So that's how they were they were activating these homes to set themselves alight from inside the home.
What a world we're living in.
And, taking it back to these smart devices. So you may have heard, you may or may not have heard something that happened in Australia recently is an energy company, going around offering these smart device meters on your electricity meter so that you don't have to have like the inconvenience of Origin Energy or whoever your energy provider is coming around to read your meter. So these smart meters are supposed to make your life easier and simpler in a way that you can monitor your electricity usage. So what did they do? Every single person that had a smart meter on a really hot heat wave, they turned off access to their air conditioner to save power on the power grid. Right? So this is dictatorship. This is communism. This is totalitarian. So really, they're offering these smart meters really because they don't have enough power to supply every single home. So they turn the power off in the homes that accepted the smart meters.
There's not a damn thing you can do about
it,
friends.
Because you've willingly accepted them.
Yep. So getting back to this parasites and bacteria that was in this fog, right, that it's affecting people's lungs. And these parasites go into the lungs and into the brain, and some weird bacteria that gets into your body. But he did say that fermented foods are a combat to these parasites and bacteria. So
get into your kimchi, your sauerkraut, all of your fermented, your butchies and all of those things.
Yeah, kombucha, kefir.
People back in the days had some fermented food with every single meal, just a little bit in every single meal.
And that's what he was saying too, like the fermented foods, they don't need to be, back in the days when you didn't have refrigeration. So these things, they don't need to be refrigerated necessarily.
And they're just condiments, right? You don't have to have a huge amount of fermented foods in every meal. Just a little dashing on top.
There's actually a little place around the corner here that teaches how to make fermented foods and stuff like that. So I might go and do a little course. I've decided I want to do little courses this year to learn things. I could probably just YouTube.
I saw a survival course online recently that looked super cool. It was like how to make refrigeration devices that will last, with like pots and clay and dirt. And, it was super cool, like a survivalist kind of stuff. And, this might be where we're headed. Who knows?
Jackie reckons that fermented not good for people with histamine or thyroid issues. Well, I don't know about that. But if you've got histamine or thyroid issues, well, you figure it out. But it was just it was one solution to some of these problems, but it's not bad for the rest of us that can eat fermented foods. I make a smoothie every morning for breakfast. I've decided to replace the coconut milk that I use with kefir. So I'm going to start.
Oh, that's a big call, my friend. That's a big call. Have you ever tried to drink kefir?
If it's just like whey, is it like the?
Oh,
because I love whey.
Kefir is hard. You might love it, but I've tried kefir many, 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 many times. I can't come at it.
I reckon I'll be all right. I'm pretty good with weird stuff.
It's like, have you ever gone down on your lover and had a good swallow? It's kind of like that.
Yeah, well, I'll be mixing it with honey. I'll be making a spoonful of sugar will help the medicine go down, friends.
Swallowing's for in your 20s. I'm sorry. It's,
You have the motherfucker. So does Bella.
I do too. The motherfucker gene.
Jackie likes kefir. I reckon I'm going to be with you, Jackie. I think I'm going to be a lover of kefir.
The motherfucker gene, the MTHFR. The thing is, guys, is that all of this is just information. I also have MTHFR. For those of you who have it, you know that your body doesn't methylate B vitamins the same as someone else. So you don't have the same detoxing capabilities. Like, let's say that Jane's got 100% detoxing capability. I might only have 30% of Jane's 100%, which is why for people who have MTHFR, it's more important than ever that you eat organic produce. What are you putting on your skin? What are you putting in your body? How are you taking care of yourself? What kind of supplements are you having? You cannot have processed food with synthetic B minerals in them. You just can't. It makes you feel crap. You cannot drink alcohol because it makes you feel bad. So it's just information. It's not a doomsday.
No, we're not doomsday here. We look at both sides, and we certainly always look for the way through. How do we get through? How will we get through this year? I'm going to read something later. It's from a book. It's called The Invitation, and I'm going to read the invitation for you because it's something for me whenever I feel overwhelmed or down or like I need a bit of a lift. I read the invitation and it just gives me a bit of inspiration to move through.
The invitation, JJ, with the MTHFR. I believe you also have Rhys negative blood. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
She does.
I have MTHFR. I have Rhys negative. What does this say about us? It says that we're on the planet to evolve and to expand in consciousness. I remember learning about MTHFR. I have the worst variety, mother and father, both strains on each, so 4 strains. And I was really bummed about it. And the guy that I went to was like, Belle, you're just a pioneer. You're helping humanity evolve, because if you don't and you eat all of that crap, garbage stuff like processed food, you feel terrible. So it's people like you who are on the earth that have to change for your own health. And then it creates a ripple effect. So
just leave the crap food to me, Bella. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, Jane can literally eat anything. But I have come a long way that you can heal yourself and you can expand in consciousness. And I believe eventually, in time, that consciousness and the vibration of our being will transcend all of this.
Yeah, I'm a great believer in it, sort of, because everyone knows I'm a smoker as well. But for me, I'm not saying smoking is a health food, all right? I'm not saying it's good for you. But giving myself a hard time about smoking is worse than actually smoking. So I've given up I'm like, if I'm going to continue to smoke, I'll just smoke. I won't, but I'm not going to condemn myself for it. So that's, and same thing with food. If you're going to go and get a stinking cheeseburger every now and again, okay. Now that we know we're eating humans, though, it's kind of puts a different light on that. But don't cane yourself about it, but don't eat it every day. I see these young kids and They don't even know how to get to the shop. They get this Uber Eats delivered, McDonald's delivered, Uber. Oh, it fucking drives me crazy. At least if you're going to eat shit, go and get it.
Oh, look, I think at the end of the day, it's the consciousness and the energy that we're in. So, like, is eating a piece of chocolate cake, and if you've got intention behind it, it's like, I'm really doing this with love and compassion. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm really going to enjoy this piece of cake, versus I'm stressed and I'm anxious and I'm eating an organic gluten-free cake. What's actually going to be worse for your body? You have to remember that it's not just about the food, it's about the energy that you're in at the time. Is a person serving you the gluten-free organic cake, is she in a CUNT of a mood, and is she throwing the cake down, yeah, have that? And then the person who's serving you the chocolate, toxic cake, oh my God, I made this with love, blah blah. You've got to look at the energy that's going into the food. It's multi-dimensional and multifaceted. For those of you who are asking about the MTHFR, it is a test, a simple blood test. You can ask your GP to do it. A lot of GPs don't like doing it just off the bat unless you've got a reason. Any naturopath will be able to give you a test for the MTHFR. Just remember, though, it's just information. And if you were to Google MTHFR symptoms of, you're going to know if you've got MTHFR more than likely without even having to do the test.
Thank you, Penelope. Yes, I will continue to enjoy my dance. Until I don't anymore, then I won't, right? Yeah.
An AO scan can tell you if you've got MTHFR. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah, maybe. I'm a little bit funny with the energetic scans. I'm not completely convinced on those myself. Maybe they work, maybe they don't. I'm not completely sold on the bioresonance kind of scans myself.
Because you did some AO scanning, so did that show up with the MTFR gene that you had it?
I can't remember if it showed up with MTHFR. Showed up with a heap of other shit that I was like,
I thought I was going to die too. I was like, I can't.
I saw the AO scan. I was like, I don't feel like I've got any of this stuff. I don't feel that bad. So, I'm a little bit apprehensive about.
I did love we both loved the frequency. So we've got a friend here that does the AO scanning, and we were gifted that for a month while we did a course.
I did love listening to the frequencies and the tones, and I did feel really good when I was listening to them. But, just taking a scan of my voice and telling me what's going on in my own physical body, it just doesn't resonate for me at a deep core level, for me personally.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I haven't looked into it enough, but I'm willing to believe that is possible, that our vibration, that whatever's going in our bodies can be measured that way. I'm not sure. I'd like to think that that's possible, but I didn't look at all the results because it was too terrifying. But I was like, I'm going to die tomorrow. But no, I'm still here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we've got Trump coming back in 8 days. 8 days.
8 days already?
Yeah, 8 days. So we're the 13th here, aren't we? Yeah, we're the 13th.
Oh, it's the full moon.
Yeah, so
big full moon, the first full moon of 2025. Oh. So coming in with packing a punch.
Right. And again, you know how much I love wine. He's raised the question of whether it would be smart to have the inauguration in a traditional manner, given the threat level in the US at the moment, and whether large crowds should be gathering, given the threats from drones, from fogs, from DEWs. Is it the smartest thing to do is to have the inauguration in a traditional manner, or should it be broadcast from a safe location? Is anyone watching us heading out to DC to be either at the rally the day before or to the inauguration? How do you feel about that?
How is Kamala gone as well? Like, since she lost it's like she's just vanished off the face of the earth. There's literally like nothing being said about her anywhere. Has anyone else noticed that?
Yeah, she was on the 8th when, or the 6th when Joe was handing, when the Congress certified the election. She was there then, obviously. when someone's husband, did you see the video of someone's husband? She wouldn't shake her hand, and
Oh,
everyone,
yes, I did.
yeah,
Yes.
I can't remember who that was, but it was like, oh, this is a big moment. Um, but she's been around a little bit, but she certainly isn't. Thank God, in our faces like she was, and she stopped cackling. Have you noticed? There's no more. There's no more cackling going on here. There's nothing left to laugh about, is there, Kamala? No. Sheila Home is the name of the lady who wrote the book that is putting the book together around on the Panama Canal, the history of the Panama Canal, and how important it is to and to the future of America, not only to the future of America, but that it's part of American history. So Sheila Home, for those who are interested, she's putting it all together now, and the book will be released soon. HOLM, Sheila Home. Fascinating stuff. And this back to the fires as well. The Diane, Linda and Stuart Resnick, these billionaires in California who own like 95, they have control over 95% of the water in California. I mean, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? And it's the same here in Australia. We've got our water is controlled so that we have to buy it. It's no longer a human right to have water. You have to buy it. We've got to buy our water, I think, from the Chinese here in Australia, who control 80% of it up in the northern parts of Queensland here for we down here. For these huge cattle stations and rice, sugarcane, rice. Places that they, this agriculture in the northern Queensland, and they down south in New South Wales too, they convert so much of the Murray River, which went into drought a few years ago, and it was completely dry because all the water has been converted off into these Chinese-owned water holding facilities that then the farmers have to buy back, and they're only allowed to have a certain amount. So the same thing happens here in Australia. You're not alone, America, in that. So, and I think that's probably worldwide. But water is no longer a right. And as we've discovered through chemtrailing and these fogs, fresh air is no longer a right either, it seems. But we can only do our best to protect ourselves. And, get our ivermectin, get our this, get our that, eat our fermented kefir now and stuff like that.
I've always felt fairly immune to EMF. People talk about EMF sickness and frequency and, whatever. And I've always felt that my consciousness and my vibration kind of expands above that. Now, does that mean I'm going to put earpods right in my ears next to my brain? No. Am I going to charge my mobile phone right next to my head on my bed? No. Like, there's certain things that I'm not going to do. There's so many studies on, the wave that comes out of those earpods, how it's like literally heating up your brain from the inside. If you're wearing those, there's lots and lots of studies that have come out about this stuff, but every 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 13-year-old, they got Wi-Fi going straight into their ears. They don't care. So I don't know, like, we have to ascend above this. Like, we have to evolve beyond electromagnetic frequency. We have to, or else we're all going to die. Like, we just have to.
I see the two clowns have been summoned to Trump's swearing in. Who were the two clowns, Juanita? I see the two clowns have been summoned to Trump's swearing in. Who are the clowns?
We don't know.
We maybe I'm going to guess Obama and Biden. Am I wrong? We'll find out. The other one was the Gulf of America. So the Gulf of Mexico being renamed the Gulf of America. That was the other one that Trump came out with this week, which, listening to a couple of different speakers on this in different podcasts, actually seemed to make sense. So, but yes, on day one, it's going to be a very busy day. The Trump administration, upon coming into power.
Nudd and Wong.
Nudd and Wong.
I know who they are.
Oh, Rudd.
Oh.
Kevin Rudd.
Oh, Rudd.
Kevin Rudd. He got rid of Rudd, didn't he?
I saw Anne. I'm not wearing my glasses.
Rudd and Wong. So she's the minister of.
Is that Penny?
Penny Wong.
Penny Wong.
Penny Wong.
Penny Wong.
Wrong and Rudd. Does that mean ScoMo is going to be there as well? Yeah, the Gulf of America. That makes sense to a lot of people. So I don't know what else. I did find it quite amusing that the guy he's the Smart City spokesman in LA got up the other day and he was talking about how these fires are a result of climate change, and I had to giggle because his name is Ted Ross, right? So Ted Ross, I'm thinking that's got to be a fucking joke, right? Ted Ross, climate change. I don't know. There's because we both agree there's no such thing as coincidence anymore, right? Um, Wong the dude, yeah. Did you see Melania's outfit at the funeral at Jimmy Carter's funeral the other day when Trump and Obama were giggling away together? She looked like she was sort of dressed in a Puritan outfit with this big white collar, and her hair was all like she looked like me actually, like she looked like you need some help, girl. You need some fucking help. I thought she's got my hairstyle, but she looked very sad and very like she was in a Puritan dress. But on the collar of her dress was a print of like a baby. And Nino was like, "What the fuck is that? She's got a dead baby on her collar." And Nino's like, "Look, don't read too much into that just yet. There's going to be more to this." And because he often speaks of how Melania wears her dresses as flags to usher in meaning, but yeah, it was actually Sheila Home and Juan that were talking with Nino, and Sheila was saying, yeah, she's got this baby on her collar. So I haven't heard anything else about what that means, but no one's mentioned how sort of sullen Melania sitting there was in this black dress with her hair all sort of. Yeah, but no, it wasn't. There was she looked like a pilgrim. Like it looked really odd.
Maybe she was supposed to look that way for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah.
She was supposed to look that way for a particular reason. The reason just hasn't come clear yet. So um, yeah, Anna, she didn't look like the usual glamorous lady that we're used to. Very, very strange. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But there was a print of a baby um, on her collar, which is a bit weird. So yeah, it's going to be a big day when Trump comes into power. Apparently, he's got about 200 executive orders lined up.
He's going to have a sore hand writing all those signatures.
He's going to have a sore hand. The main ones, of course, to do with the border, returning immigrants back across the border.
Are executive orders even worth the paper they're written on? Because the next president that comes along could just reverse them, right?
Yeah, but they're still in play for the time.
For the time.
So I guess depending on what the executive. But if we listen to Derek Johnson, executive orders mean everything. There's 3 or 4 particular executive orders that have been put in place with reference to continuity of government, 13818 and stuff like that, that are very important. That even some of the executive orders that Trump put in his first administration, Biden continued with those executive orders. And one of them, the main one, I think in particular, was to do with continuity of government.
Right.
So they're very important. And yes, Trump is set to sign so many. There's like 150 or something executive orders. I think one of them too is like, and I think this may have continued since his first administration too, is that anyone who's found to have had been involved in any child sex trafficking stuff, all of their property can be seized under executive order. That's still in play as well. And I think we'll see a lot of that through this California fire. But yeah, the main thing I think we're going to see after the fires is what's left in the rubble, what's left underground, that we will see from around Hollywood, California, that area. We'll wait and see on that. That's an exciting thing. But yeah, 2025 has not let us down so far this year, has it, friends? It's
The year of the phoenix, going up in ashes, literally.
yeah. So we have some rising to do, but it certainly hasn't been boring. It feels like I've been on it's like 2 weeks. We're not even 2 weeks in, and it already feels like this crazy roller coaster of one day it's like fuck yeah, we're heading to the new fucking the new thing, and the next day it's like, oh, I want to kill myself. It's a very, very heavy energy, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. I'm having a good day today. Yesterday wasn't so bad, but I did have a bit of a hangover, so that didn't help. Um, but it's this feeling of like we know that this is brilliant, brilliant 1,000 years of peace and prosperity coming our way. But in the meantime, it's just this heavy sort of like fuck hell. I don't know if I can make it through another day kind of energy. And it's like, yes, you can. Just keep going. I'll get my little. I want to read you the invitation. All right. So this is I first discovered this years ago. It's quite famous. Araya Mountain Dreamer is the name of the author.
Araya Mountain Dreamer.
It's not long. It's been around for a long time, but it's absolutely helped pick me up on occasion. And last night when I went to bed, I felt like I needed to read the invitation again. So I'll read it for you, friends. Won't take long. All right. So the invitation. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it's not pretty, every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the sliver of the moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. I don't know if that hits home for people, but it really hits home for me, and I wanted to share it because we're being called within. Again, I think I said this last week. We're being called within to the core, the strength of who we are, so that no matter what is going on around us, we have the strength to stand up and keep going, no matter what, no matter who, and no matter how. That we're in connection with that divine creative force that drives us, that courses through our veins, that keeps us going. So this is what I bless all of you with, my friendships, my children, my family, the whole damn world, is that connection, that strength, and that courage to keep going through, because 2025, my friends, is it's going to test us. And thankfully, we've been through the fire and we've sharpened our swords a little bit. So even if I feel like I can't make it through today, yes, I can. I know I can. And I wish that for everyone here and for everyone else in the world. So I just wanted to share that. I hope that's okay to share that. So we'll find out what's going on. It is beautiful, Mike. It is. And you are too, Mike. I always, Mike sends me messages and encouragement. And it makes my day a lot of the time, Mike. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your depth and your heartfelt drive. Very, very precious. Good news is we have anti-dengue mosquitoes being released here in Queensland.
Genetically modified anti-dengue mosquitoes.
Thanks, Bill Gates.
Released by Bill Gates.
Because we know that Bill Gates cares for us, friends. So yes, this.
They fucking genetically modify a mosquito. They're fucking so tiny. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you know how fucking big a gene is.
Yeah.
A mosquito's a giant.
Oh, I get it.
I know. We haven't had the murder hornets yet, though. What's in the fog, friends? What's in the fog?
Well, I saw something beautiful today. It's a little story that's close to my heart every time. Let's decline that. You've all heard me share my son. He's got some little challenges and he's never really made any friends because he's still learning social skills, how to interact. And, he started at this new program called A Journey to Learn. It's a journey to learn with other neurodiverse children. And he's made friends with a little boy called Fletcher, who's 9. My son is 5, and he is a lot better with children who are older than him because Mackay is very boisterous and he doesn't know his own body. And Fletcher is a 9-year-old autistic genius. And he's going to the same place as my son. And when my son arrived today, Fletcher ran up to him and they had this big, huge hug, heart to heart. And they looked back at each other's eyes and said, "I've missed you so much." And then they walked off holding hands. And I was just like, oh, bless you. Just to see my little boy with a friend. And it just goes to show that it's just finding the right people in the right place for your little sweet bear. And to see them, Fletcher has this special Lego that he can build all this stuff. And him and my son started building this monstrosity with Lego straight away. And I've just never seen my son do that. I've never seen him interact and share in this way. So birds of a feather flock together. It's about finding your tribe and finding the people who get you at a core and a cellular level.
And that's exactly what we have here, friends. Here and here with you. And again, we've said this a million times, we would not be here without you. So blessed to have this conversation. And that's a conversation that we can now say, fuck you, Zuckerberg.
Or maybe not fuck you, Zuckerberg.
We can say it, can't we, friends? Fuck you, Zuckerberg. We can. And his community, whatever. Anyway,
How about you, Zuckerberg? Are you going to give me back all the revenue I lost from a 2-year advertising ban? It's all good and well to come out and say, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. And at the end of the day, the past is the past, moving forward and embracing this change and this shift that's coming our way. And knowing that we're just going to focus our energy and our intention on where we're going in the future.
The Greenland thing, here's the note. It was 1803. It was Thomas Jefferson made reference to Greenland. So 1803, this is how far this Greenland thing goes back. How important and strategic Greenland is for America. And in the 1940s, President Truman, I don't know what the reference was, but there was another reference to Greenland. So the Greenland thing is not new. yeah. So I don't know. So yeah, some of these other executive orders will be to do with getting wokeism out of the schools. Um, you know,
Having a 5-year-old son, I'm very concerned about, the schooling system. And I find myself in a very, very challenging place because I'm all for homeschool and I'm all for even unschooling in the school of life. However, I have a child that is very challenging to teach and grow and learn. And there's certain kind of skills that we need to live in this reality, a neurotypical reality, let's say. There's certain kind of skills and social graces that we need to exist and function in this reality and to make friends. And they're skills that my son doesn't have. And he needs support with people who excel in supporting children like my son, because as a parent, after 5 years, I'm totally burnt out. So it's about finding the right places to teach and support our children to grow and learn whilst having them not be brainwashed and indoctrinated. And it's a really challenging place to navigate, knowing that my son needs support from that kind of learning system, but not wanting him to be indoctrinated. So, how do I navigate that system? I don't know yet. I'm on the path.
and the thing is too, like this system, this woke agenda that runs through our schools. Um, we're all going to suffer through that if it, I mean, it's not going to continue. This will be laid to rest, as we've seen. I mean, we're already seeing less and less from these. Let's just call them groomers, grooming our children into this woke, non-binary agenda. We're already seeing less of it on Instagram and on our social media. It's almost just disappeared. I haven't seen any trannies in schools or anything. There's no one's promoting that.
You know what I am seeing a lot of, and maybe you're not seeing this, but I'm seeing a rise of AI supermodels, which supermodels, they're AI models, they're not real, they're artificial intelligent models building Instagram pages, but they're trans. So they're like models that like are beautiful and they've got dicks and stuff and they got their bikinis on and they got like big dicks coming out. It's like, oh my God, like people, and they've got like 400,000 followers. It just blows my mind. It blows my freaking mind.
Oh, and yeah, I was going to say something about blowing then, but I thought, no, I can't. Well, I could.
Well, I've already made one bad comment today.
Blow each other, can't they? Friendly's AI. The line. Um, but yeah, so I don't know what else. That's about it.
Jackie, I don't want kids anymore because of all that's going on. Look, I think that it's our role as parents who are expanding in consciousness to support our kids to be way showers in this collective changing and shifting humanity. And I think that there are so many children coming along now who are awake and aware. They're coming in, remembering more of their true essence. And, these children are going to be the adults of tomorrow. So I think we're actually in really good hands with the children coming through, but they need warrior parents like us who are going to help them with this transition and to help them navigate through this system. And there are a lot of us rippled all over the world who are parenting these children. So
yeah, and I mean, if this had have continued on, it's we're all gonna be under the umbrella of that, because the generation that comes up will be so indoctrinated that so this has to end now. Anna Louise, I just watched the A Miss Universe and they're all trans. Is a Miss? Is that what A Miss Universe? Not Miss Universe. A Miss, is that an actual trans
Miss Universe? Maybe
it's just a Miss. That would be quite funny if they're being straight up with us. If they're saying these are transvestites, right? That's one thing. But if they're trying to, tell us that they're women and they're not, they're Victoria's Secret models and they've, tucked it away or cut it off. Well, or they happen to be the wife of the president of the United States of America, a la Big Mike. And why wasn't he at the funeral of Jimmy Carter? That's a question I have as well. Where was Big Mike? Wasn't there. But anyway, I want to thank Melania for looking like shit because it made me feel real good about myself.
In particular, your hair.
Yes.
Jackie, what does she say? Even so-called awake parents. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of parents who act and think that they are awake and they are not. And there's just more dogma over more dogma over more dogma. And look, I think at the end of the day, we're all just doing the best we can. We've all been conditioned since birth. We've all been programmed since birth. And, there's even fresh awareness and fresh awakenings that I've been having the last several months myself, things that I once believed with absolute full cell knowing. I'm starting to think, not so sure about that anymore. I've been going through a massive upgrade, as I've shared in the past, in my solar plexus for the last several months. It's an upgrade that it's blowing my socks off. And with this upgrade, it has become more knowings and intuitive knowingness as to what's fact and what's actually fiction. And there were some things that I believed before that I'm starting to think are actually fiction and programming and brainwashing. So, we don't know. We just have to do the best we can. And all we've got to go on is our own internal knowing and our own guidance system and do the best that we can.
Well, good morning, Jane Morris, 3 a.m. in the morning. The dogs have woken her up, so she's joining us here on the Echo Chamber. We're about to go.
Kicks and pies.
All right. Well, Big Mike's in Hawaii apparently on a holiday, so that's nice for her. Yeah. She might be at Oprah's place.
She might be.
They might be having a party.
Did Oprah have a place in California?
Probably. She'd have places all over the joint, wouldn't she? Yeah. She'd have places all over. All right.
Good for Oprah.
Fuck Oprah. Fuck Oprah. Fuck Zuckerberg. Fuck Big Mike. Fuck all of them. They can all get fucked because, we're heading on up, friends. We're heading into the light side. We're heading away from the dark side. So let's go. All right. Well, have a good week moving forward. Fingers crossed that we'll see you before the inauguration, but on the 19th, if they happen to hold that rally in DC with Trump, that all goes well and nothing evil happens. They got four rows of fencing around the Capitol building, apparently. So not just one, 4 this year. It's also fucking weird, isn't it? Anyway, all right, we'll see you all next Monday. Thank you for joining us. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.